Hey, hello. Okay, welcome in. Katie Houston here. We are on 1:30 on a frigid Friday afternoon. We are gathered here in the city of Cleveland holding a press briefing. They want to let the community know the proactive measures they have taken to be prepared for this significant winter storm that we have been telling you about now. Settling in, you step outside, you feel it, right? The frigid temperatures. That's not going anywhere. So we got a lot of people gathered here with the city of Cleveland. You see Mayor Justin Bibb there, the Department of Public Works, Department of Aging, Division of Fire, Division of Police, Division of Emergency Medical Services, everybody here. So we're going to hear about how the city is preparing for this severe cold that we have, as well as then the snow that is going to be coming in, significant snowfall.
Okay, good
Let's
afternoon, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us here today. We wanted to spend a few moments this afternoon briefing the public about the upcoming winter storm that's going to hit our region. In just a few minutes, Freddie Ziegler from the National Weather Service will give us a detailed briefing on what we should expect throughout the weekend. But first, I want to say this. The entire city of Cleveland and every level of government is prepared and has been preparing for this upcoming major winter storm. We are not trying to cause panic. We want our residents to be prepared with emergency supplies in their homes and cars and make sure they have safe heating sources and safe locations to stay for the storm and prolonged cold temperatures. We also will be extending our warming center operations through Wednesday, January 28th at our rec centers. I'll list those out here briefly. Our warming centers will be at Michael Zone, Kavasic, Zelma George, and Collinwood. And after today's press conference, our comms team will release the detailed times for those warming centers across the entire city. It's also important that if you need access to transit to our warming centers, RTA has passes for those residents in need to get to a warming center free of charge. For our unhoused brothers and sisters in our city, they can also receive resources from the Cuyahoga County Department of Homeless Services. They're located at 310 West Lakeside Avenue. And assistance can also be received by dialing 211 if you are an unsheltered resident who needs to get access to a shelter. Also, if you have issues throughout the winter storm event, in addition to 211, please also call 311 at the City of Cleveland. As Director John Laird has talked about over the last couple days throughout the entire region and throughout the entire state of Ohio, we are facing a salt shortage. So first, I want to thank Governor DeWine and ODOT for their support in helping the city of Cleveland get as much salt as we possibly can for our past winter events that we've had over the last couple of weeks, but also salt needed for this upcoming major winter storm. I want to say this though, we're going to plow every road in Cleveland. However, our Public Works Department needs to prioritize salt treatments on main roads, hills, dangerous intersections, and areas near hospitals to make sure paths are clear so that residents and our safety forces can respond to potential emergencies. So again, we're asking our residents to be safe, but also be extremely patient. It's going to take our crews time to plow every street across the entire city of Cleveland. And I'll remind folks at home, our snowplow trucks are not Ubers, and this is going to be a big event. So if you see delays on your street, know our crews are working around the clock to plow our roads in a safe and deliberate fashion, but it will take time to plow all of our roads across the entire city. So again, this is going to be a major storm. And so if you don't have to travel when this storm hits, please stay home if you can. Don't risk going outside this weekend. If there's a show on Netflix or Hulu, watch that show. I'm gonna probably binge on Him and Hers on Netflix this weekend, or some bad reality TV. We want everybody just to be safe as we prepare for this winter storm. And again, before I head it over to and wrap it over to Freddie from the National Weather Service, I want to just thank our amazing public works crews for their hard work over the last couple of weeks and the great work they're going to be doing over the next few days. These folks are going to be working around the clock, 24/7, long days, long nights, and very cold, frigid temperatures. So let's make sure we give them sincere gratitude and appreciation as we begin this winter storm event. Also want to just thank the men and women of police, fire, and EMS as well too. They have no days off as well. And so it's important we give them our sincere gratitude. Freddie, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I appreciate the words as far as the support the city. Some of the key messages that I got from the mayor: stay prepared, stay safe, and be patient. This is going to be a long duration event. Right now, that's in effect for Cuyahoga County and Cleveland is a cold weather advisory. That's for wind chills below 15 degrees below. We're expecting some of those temperatures, wind chill values around 15 degrees below this evening and in the overnight hours. And then we have a winter storm watch or warning that's in effect for Cuyahoga County for Saturday night through early Monday morning. This is going to be a long duration snow event. This is coming in from the south, so it's not coming from the lake. This should start probably Saturday night, and we should start to get some of those snow totals starting to accumulate in the overnight hours and then persisting all the way through Sunday. So it's kind of going to be a slow mover. The accumulation is going to really kind of ramp up as we get into Sunday morning, Sunday afternoon. 6 to 8 inches again, that's what we're expecting. And for an outlook, this is going to be a long duration storm. We're expecting temperatures to really just remain below 20 degrees at your daytime highs and single digits for lows. We're not expecting to hit 20 degrees Sunday, and then we won't hit it again until next Sunday. That is all I have, and I'll hand it over to John Laird, our Director of Public.
Thank you. I hope you all can see me. It's a big pulpit. But very quickly, just want you all to know that right now our crews are out pre-treating the roads with brine. Right, as you know, brine is an effective way for us to be able to stretch our salt. And so that's one of the things, the tools that we'll be using. We're out there now. We've been out there. We'll continue to be out there in preparation for the storm. Also, we are working 24/7. Our crews will be working all day, all night. Not only will our drivers, we have about 150 drivers that we will be using over the span of this storm, as well as about 110 vehicles at our disposal to be able to use. We are working in collaboration with the Department of Safety to have a parking ban. That parking ban will start about 7 p.m. Saturday, and hopefully it can end about Monday 7 p.m. But that will be determined as we understand what's happening with the storm. Also, we have the divisions of waste collection. We have about 10 waste collection trucks that we put plows on. They help us with a lot of the plowing that we do on the main roads. As the mayor mentioned, we will continue to salt the main roads, the hills, and dangerous intersections. But it must be understood at certain temperatures, when it gets too low, even the salt won't work in those cases. But we will be plowing at all times. Our biggest weapon right now will be the amount of times that we'll be plowing. We will be giving more frequency to our plowing. Finally, we would ask, as far as help from our residents, if you have driveways and if you can park your cars in the driveways, that would help us tremendously so we can get down the streets and plow those streets. Sometimes we have trouble because there are cars parked on the street. And lastly, as the mayor mentioned, please stay home if you can. I don't know about his or hers, but I'm still trying to catch up on Stranger Things. So that might be mine. And so now I'm going to hand it over to the Director of Aging, Director Mary McNamara. Mayor.
Good afternoon. You know, when snow falls and temperatures drop, I know that Clevelanders rise. And for me, as the Director of Aging at the City of Cleveland, that's about making sure that our older neighbors are safe. So I just want to share 4 key messages for me that we're putting out in the community. First, older adults are at a higher risk in extreme cold, and preparation does really save lives. Older adults feel the cold more intensely, and may be less likely to ask for help. So we're urging seniors and their caregivers to take these simple steps now. Stay warm indoors, limit your time outside, and plan now for medications, food, and transportation that you're going to need over the next week. As the mayor said, warming centers are open, help is available. No one should have to choose between heat and safety. So remember those numbers, 211 United Way and 311 City of Cleveland. Third, community connection is critical during severe weather. We're asking neighbors, family members, and friends to check on older adults, especially those who live alone. A quick phone call, a knock on the door can prevent a medical emergency or worse. And lastly, Clevelanders can help keep older adults safe through our Snow Heroes program, or just by simply helping a neighbor. New this year, the Cleveland Department of Aging launched our Snow Heroes program. It matches volunteers with older adults in need. We're always looking for more volunteers. Our phone is ringing off the hook from seniors already worried about how they're going to shovel. And as we know, snow shoveling is hard on the heart. Cold temperatures and heavy exertion can significantly increase the risk of heart strain for older adults and those with underlying health conditions. By helping a neighbor, we can reduce that risk. And even without signing up, I know so many Clevelanders are already snow heroes on their street and lend a hand. So just know that all of those actions can prevent falls, injuries, medical emergencies, and isolation. I know in Cleveland we look out for one another, and through this storm, keeping our neighbors safe, our older neighbors safe, is something we all can do together. So at this time I'd like to invite Lieutenant Mike Norman from Cleveland Fire.
Thanks, Mary. Good afternoon, everyone. I'll give you some points to help people stay safe as they stay warm during this event. Winter is a busy time for the firefighters. You know, this is when we've seen uptick in house fires and motor vehicle accidents. Your furnaces are going to be working harder during this event, so you want to make sure that those are vented to the outside. That goes for hot water tanks that are gas fueled as well. That can be a cause of CO poisoning in the house. Same for fireplaces. If you're going to start a fire, make sure that that's venting to the outside of the house. Carbon monoxide detector is a great investment for your house. We always encourage people to have those protecting them as they sleep. If you're going to use space heaters, I know people are going to be using supplemental heat during this event. You're going to make sure that those space heaters have space. They need 3 foot of clearance all the way around them. You're going to make sure that space heater is plugged directly into the wall socket. You don't want that into an extension cord and never into a power strip. In the event that we need a generator during this event, make sure that generator is away from the house, that it's venting, that the exhaust is going away from the house. If you're going to be going outside, do what the firefighters do. We're going to wear extra layers. We're going to make sure that we're hydrated. You don't have to shovel your driveway like you're putting out a house fire. Take your time with it. It's better to plow the snow, to push the snow, than to lift the snow. And just be safe out there. Take frequent breaks. It's dangerous to work in these cold conditions. Allow more time for your commutes if you're going anywhere, and if you can stay home, just stay home during this event. That's the safest place for you to be. In the event that you do have to go out, make sure your car is ready. You want to make sure there's a blanket in there, make sure your fuel is topped off before this event. Like I said, we're going to have a lot of motor vehicle accidents. In the event that you're involved in one or you're slowed down by one that happens ahead of you, be ready for that eventuality. Don't go outside not ready to be outside, even if you're just going to drive in your car. And as always, move right for lights. If you see us responding someplace, police, EMS, pull it to the side of the road to give us that left lane of travel. Most of our Cleveland fire trucks have water on board, so we have protocols that we follow to keep that water circulating, to keep it from freezing inside the trucks. It's a good idea with your house. Be mindful of frozen pipes. If you've got pipes that are at risk of freezing, leave that cold water trickling just a little bit to keep that water moving. That'll reduce the chance of having a frozen pipe in your house. Speaking of ice, stay off the ice. Don't go out on the lake. This is no time to play out on that lake. These cold temperatures are going to freeze the lake to some degree, but it's not safe to go out there on the lake or on the rivers. So stay off of the ice. And remember your pets. You know, if it's too cold for you outside, it's too cold for your pets. Be smart about having your pets outside. And the last thing I'll cover from the Division of EMS, some things that we're going to see at this time with these cold temperatures: hypothermia and frostbite. So hypothermia, you'll see conditions such as shivering, chattering teeth, confusion, slowed reaction times, and slurred speech. With frostbite, you'll have numb, tingling sensations, throbbing, shooting pains. Your skin may appear red, pale, and then dark. For both of these treatments, both these conditions, you want to remove from the elements, get to someplace warm, remove wet, damp clothing, add dry layers, and gently rewarm the areas, and you can use warm water to do so. So I want everybody to be safe during this event. Now I'll introduce Sergeant Fred Diaz from Police.
Good afternoon, everyone. I think we've kind of covered pretty much the basics. However, I just want to reiterate the parking ban that the Director of Public Safety is going to issue. We just ask our citizens to comply to that parking ban. Not only does that help with the plowing of the streets, it also assists safety responders that are going to be out there responding to calls. So it's not simply to inconvenience you, it's to help us serve you a little bit better. So just keep that in mind in terms of the parking ban. The list will be displayed for all the streets that are going to be restricted. Just like the mayor mentioned, this is preparation, right? We're out here reminding everyone that preparation is key. If you plan to go out, we highly suggest, cancel plans if able, but if you do have to go out, make sure you give yourself plenty of time. There's no reason to drive extremely quick in these conditions. Our officers are going to be out there patrolling, and the highways are typically the most dangerous parts of these scenarios, so we ask that you give yourself time if you have to get out. But Netflix sounds a little bit better, to be honest. Vehicle security, if you have to go out, I know it's convenient to kind of warm up your car in advance. However, it brings some safety concerns. So try not to go out there and leave your car running. It's a safety concern. If you have kids, don't leave them in the cars. Make sure that when you're ready to go, you go out there, stay in the vehicle, make sure you warm it up with you in the vehicle to ensure that nothing wrong could happen. If you are involved in an accident, we just remind folks, if it's a minor accident and if it's safe to do so, drive off the road. If you're on the highway, you're able to exit the highway. Obviously, exchange information with the parties that may be involved, but there's no necessarily a need to stay at the location if it's safe to do so. So we encourage you to drive to the districts if you're involved in an accident. If it is a major accident where the vehicle is not drivable, then of course call 911 and remain at the scene. Our non-emergency number, just to reiterate that, it's 216-621-1234. I think Lieutenant Norman mentioned about keeping your vehicle fueled. That's important as well. So preparation is key. And of course, our officers are going to be out there around the clock responding. Patrol officers are going to be out there. So keep that in mind as well. We're not exempt to the weather. We're also going to be exposed as well. So all these points that everyone here has mentioned is just to reiterate that we have to work together as a community to keep everyone safe. At this point, we're going to open up for questions if there's any questions.
You mentioned salt, no dot. Can you give me extra salt in between the announcement earlier this week and announcement of dot? Can you explain that a little bit better?
Yeah, and I'll have John come up and talk about our conversations with ODOT, but when we were made aware that Cargill was not giving us the amount of salt as outlined in the contract, we reached out to not only the Cargill team to address that issue, but we got great support from ODOT and the governor's office to give us some salt in the near term to address that shortage. So I'll have John talk more about that issue. John?
Absolutely. So our conversation with ODOT was related to the fact that Cargill released a statement that the winter started early, and so they had difficulty getting salt out. But we have been working closely with them. They are delivering salt. It's just the amount of salt that we typically get is not what we expected to have. So the delivery is a little shorter than what we want, but we still have salt to work with.
But from the announcement earlier this week till now, making the short, you got salt from ODOT to help for this source?
We did get some salt from ODOT, but ODOT also has a shortage as well.
Yeah. And you mentioned the temperature. Remind us, what temperature is salt no good at?
So I'm gonna fall back a little bit. 19 degrees.
19?
Once we get to 19 degrees, yeah.
Thank you.
Yep.
Sorry, not to keep reiterating, but you are comfortable with the amount of salt that you guys have heading into this storm?
I will say this, we can keep the city safe. I would like to have tons more salt. If you're asking my comfort level, it's a lot different from Commissioner Scott, who's been doing this for a long time. We can keep the city safe with the amount of salt that we have.
Reiterate that planning again, kind of what it looks like, and then, in terms of snowfall, 12 hours after, some residents might look at the streets and be like, why isn't it fully possible? Why isn't it down the same?
Sure.
That process is why it might be that way.
Sure. So our methodology to plowing plowing streets, we start with our main roads and our hills first. We get those passable. So it may not be that they're down the pavement, it may not be that, but as long as we can get cars and vehicles through those, that's the way we do it. Once we feel comfortable that the main roads and the hills are passable, we go to residential streets. We make the residential streets passable. Once we do that, it's an iteration, so we go back and forth until we get to as close as pavement as we can. In the past, we would use salt in the residential areas to get down the pavement. Because of our shortage, we don't have that pleasure or that luxury. So we're going to have to continue to do more plowing to get down as close as we can to the pavement. But that's how our iterations work with plowing.
Communication like over the weekend? Like, is there like a van post, something like that, just among everybody that,
Every hour during a major winter storm event, as we're expecting this weekend, our teams are communicating internally. John and his team gives me and my chief of staff an update, and then we communicate those updates to the city council and the public to make sure everyone knows how we're progressing. But again, it takes time to get every street. It takes time to hit all of our main streets and intersections and dangerous hills. And so for a major storm event like this, we're just asking for patience to make sure we can keep the city safe as we progress through the storm. Yep.
Yeah, so we have about 150 drivers that will be using over the storm event. We have about 110 vehicles that we have at our access, anywhere from the plows that you see here to pickup trucks to graders that we have at our disposal to be able to use. Waste trucks, we'll have about 10 waste trucks that we use that we put plows on as well to help us with tandem plowing. And, Councilman Starr leaned over to me and mentioned you got about 10,000 streets that you have to plow. So again, going back to the mayor's point, we do ask that you be patient with us. There's a lot of ground that we have to cover. We have about 3,000 lane miles, or the lane miles or curb miles, 3,000 miles that we have to cover. So we'll get there. It's just going to take us some time. Yeah.
All right, any other questions? All right, be safe, everyone. Thank you so much.